Okay, hello again everyone and welcome back for another live stream. And let me just give you a quick reminder of the purpose of this live stream, and that is to give you feedback on your Task 2 writing. So we'll look at your vocab, your grammar, and more importantly, we will be looking at your ability to generate appropriate ideas, because that's where a lot of students will fail, and that's exactly the exam skills that you need to learn. So learning vocabulary, learning grammar is something that you will have to do on your own time, but I can help you understand if it is or it isn't a problem, or what areas of grammar you need to focus on. I have a complete series of video lessons so that you understand what you need to do. So let me share that with you now in the comments. Hi, Nasiba. I'll just share that with you in the comments. Hey, Sandy. Good to see you here. So you can use that series of videos to learn what to do and then come here to get feedback from me. So that the purpose here is not to teach you what to do, but to give you that feedback. Okay, so Nasib is on YouTube and Sandy's on Facebook. So that means everything is working and we're good to go. So let me first just get you to write a paraphrase for the question that we're looking at today, and I'll be able to give you some feedback on vocab and grammar in relation to that. So here's the question, and we'll get straight into it. Write the paraphrase and share it in the comments when you are ready. Hi, Miguel. So while everybody else is writing the paraphrase, let me just answer Miguel's question here. How to get the IELTS exam? I'm not sure what exactly you mean by that, Miguel. So if you want to rephrase that question, I'll help you with it. But do you mean how to book the test, or how to get the scores, or what part of the IELTS exam are you referring to? So Miguel, I feel like I'm still not sure. You have to go and book the test at the BC or at IDP, and you sit the test there. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking me, but it seems like that's the question. Okay, so let's just say another 30 seconds to a minute and post your paraphrase for me in the comments. Okay, so Sandy is first in. If you are not finished writing your paraphrase, please continue, and I'll just start giving feedback to the other students. So Sandy Lee, some claim that team sports aid children to prepare for their career in the future. Good. I would just say we're talking about children plural. You have there the plural pronoun, and then career would have to be plural as well. So they're careers. So small mistake with plurals there. Whereas others disagree with this opinion. Perfect. So most importantly, the paraphrase has the exact same meaning as the question statement. That's all you want. That's the most important objective. So yep, you've done really well there. Just that one mistake with plurals, which you tend not to make too often anyway, to be honest. And Yana Wood, team sports are realized by some people that it prepares children for their future occupations, whereas some do not agree. Okay, here everything is good except the word realize, because the meaning changes what it says in the question. So the question says believe, and that tells us that it might be true, it might not be true. It's not a fact, it's an opinion. But with the word realize, it's you discover something that is true. So, I didn't realize what time it is. So if I say I didn't realize, let's say I thought it was 5 o'clock, but it's actually 6 o'clock. So that's I realize what time it is. So I discover something that's true. So just a small mistake with vocabulary there actually changes the meaning. And this would be problematic because whereas with Sandy's mistake, the meaning was still very clear. But with your mistake, that could confuse the reader. And in cases like this, a lot of students are just trying to improve their lexical resource score, improve their range of vocabulary. So I understand if you're trying to avoid using the word believe, but the word realize does not mean believe. So it would actually have been better to just repeat the word from the question. If you had just said team sports are believed by some, that would have been absolutely perfect. And Nasiba, Noni, there are some people who argue that it is better for youngsters' future careers to make them join a sport group. Everything is looking good there except sport group. A group and a team in some cases would be a synonym, but we would not use the phrase a sports group does not have the same meaning. The spelling of the word career, I believe in our live feedback lesson last week, if I remember correctly, that exact word came up. So you definitely want to make a note of spelling mistakes you're making whenever they're pointed out to you, because you obviously you're making a spelling mistake, you're unaware of it. So anytime you learn that a spelling is incorrect, you need to have a special notebook or a special area in your notebook where you just have the spellings of words you already know. So to continue your paraphrase, while others, so disagree is the verb, so we don't need are. So while others completely disagree. So we have one small grammar mistake, one small vocab mistake, one small spelling mistake, which would also be counted as vocab. But all in all, the meaning is clear. I know what you're saying. It's the same as what the question said. So in relation to that side of things, this is a good paraphrase. Mohammed Usman, according to some people, team sport helps children to get prepared for future careers. Good. However, some disagree with that. Okay, good. So you need a comma before however, and just team sports needs to be plural. And that would change the verb as well. So it would be team sports help. But overall, that's also a good paraphrase. Now, I did write a sample answer for this question already, and I'll share that with you at the end of the lesson. But for now, let me just share the paraphrase that I wrote for this. And that is mine. So next, we're going to move on to the outline statement, but I don't want you to write the outline statement. All I want you to consider is what ideas could we use? Oh, actually, just quickly before we do that, before we move on, can you tell me how many main ideas do you need for this question? Sandy's in there first. Great. I knew Sandy would get it. And Noni, excellent. Sandy and Noni come to my live feedback lessons every week. So I've been working quite closely with the two of them. Good, perfect. So we need 3 main ideas. And the way it will work is like this. Let me just show you what our outline statement will look like. The outline statement will look like this. Let me just bring that up full screen here. So it will be, I've filled in the outline statement, and we just need to fill in the blanks. So according to those who think these sports are an advantage, and then why it's an advantage, so we're going to have one main idea, whereas the other group disagrees because second main idea. My opinion is that team sports are either a benefit or a disadvantage, and then because, and it'll be the third main idea to support our own opinion on this. So that's exactly what we're looking for in the outline. It's going to look just like that. And what I need from you right now is to tell me what main ideas would you fill in this outline statement. Okay, so again, take a minute and consider what main ideas will we use for our outline statement and for our full essay, in fact. Sam, Matt, and Anita, I see your paraphrase. I'll give you feedback on that in a moment. Let's just focus on generating the main ideas for now. And Mr. Byte is here. Great. Hey, Mr. Byte. Hi, Vivi. I'll have a look at your paraphrase as well. So we'll look at all the paraphrases that have been shared, but just for now, focus on the main ideas. So Usman, the task is on the screen. What main ideas can we use for this question? Okay, so while you're still focusing on getting your main ideas together and posting them in the comments, I have a few students who need feedback on their paraphrase. So we'll just look at that. Vivi, the majority of people assume that playing with a team. So you have an issue with articles. That takes a lot of work. Articles are probably the most difficult part of grammar to get right. Even students who are getting, band 7s and band 8s are making mistakes with articles, but it's a good one to work on if you are aware you suffer from problems with articles. The majority of people assume that playing with the team as a group is beneficial in the future career path of the youngsters, whereas the minority of society agree with this statement. So there are two possibilities. Your vocab is problematic in this because it's not clear what you're saying. I've seen the original question, so I know what you're trying to say, but there are too many mistakes, and there are one of two possibilities here. One is you have the ability to communicate, but you're trying to use vocabulary beyond your level. That means you're making mistakes with that. That means I don't understand. Or it could simply be that you need to work on improving your vocabulary overall. So it's one of two things, and it could be both. Improve your vocabulary, work on that every day, and don't try to use vocabulary that you're not familiar with. And what happens to a lot of students is it sounds good to them. So, if you hear somebody else use these words, you think, oh, that sounds good. But there are no words that you can use correctly that sound good to you. When you use them correctly, they just sound like the right word. When you're not fully familiar with them, they sound impressive. So just communicate, focus on communicating as clearly as possible. Hi, Mr. Byte. Sam, members of the people, that's not a phrase, so language error here. Except that mass sport, again, that's not a phrase. Qualified teenagers, that's not a phrase. Qualified doesn't work. Teenagers isn't a synonym of children. For their dream job, it doesn't say whether they're doing a job that the job they dream of or not. It just says when they're working. Whereas other has to have an S. Don't accept that idea. So definitely you're going to need to work on your language to get any type of a score. I would say, even to aim for a band 6 would be challenging for you at the moment because the density of the mistakes. I know that's not a nice thing to hear, but it does mean if you've done the test before and you didn't understand why you didn't get the scores that you need, you know exactly what the situation is there now. Anita, people hold that group exercise and sport is not the same thing. They are similar for sure, but exercise could be going for a walk or going for a walk in a group. It's not, when we talk about sport, we're talking about football, basketball, any team sport like that. So group exercise, prepare youngsters for their tomorrow vacation is a holiday. You're probably thinking of vocation, and that's not really a direct synonym of career either. Tomorrow and future are not synonyms. While others disagree, that bit's fine. So again, just be careful not to use vocabulary beyond your ability. And in a lot of cases, when students are making mistakes with vocabulary, it's because they're trying to use, words that they're unfamiliar with. So very often you could communicate clearly, but you feel it will get you a low vocab score. Well, you'll get a better vocab score if the examiner can understand what you're trying to say. Certain individuals, certain individuals accept that sports plan kids. So they don't plan and prepare is not the same. Vocations, that's the word. It's not a direct synonym. A vocation is like stronger linked to, a calling, like, if you want to work for charity, or if you want to, you want to do something that helps other people. That's, you choose your job because, it's a like you want to, there's some, moral reasoning behind your choice of work. So it's not exactly the same thing. Okay, Osman, Noni, according to the... Okay, so it seems you weren't finished. Okay, so here we have main ideas. Main idea 1, team sports require a group of people, thus the players have to find ways to recruit, manage, and maintain their team. Too many things going on here. And honestly, none of those would be... No, I can see. No, I can see that. No, these do make sense. You need one idea though. That's too many ideas. Excuse me. You need 3 ideas, but you need 2 for one side and 1 for the other side. So you need to choose one of these. Okay, good. They're actually all relevant and specific. So my initial reaction was incorrect. By practicing people management skills, they are fulfilled by these skill sets, which is useful for their working careers. So if you look at the question again, what we needed here was one idea why people agree, one idea why people disagree, and then one idea for whether you agree or disagree. So I think what you have is too many ideas on one side, and they would be fine, but they would not. This is not enough for your answer. Vivi, you're very welcome. How many days am I live? Saif, at the moment I'm just doing Tuesdays, but I was considering doing a second day. I also have free live feedback lessons 3 times a week for my newsletter subscribers. So you can join me 4 times a week, although one of those is for academic and one is for general training task 1. So you can join me 3 times a week for sure. But I am considering doing an extra live stream also. Thanks for asking. Build communication skills from a tender age as a result of interacting with children of their age. Excellent. Communication skills. Very good. Good. So they learn communication skills. That helps them with their career. Perfect. Okay, Usman, main idea 1, sport increase physical as well as mental health, which enhance a person's abilities to achieve their targeted objectives. However, sometimes much time spent on sport activities wastes a person's important time, especially when they're on the verge of exam time. Okay, so there's too much going on here. So first of all, you achieve your goals by getting better mental health and physical. Well, which of those is the main idea? Is it improves your physical health? It improves your mental health. It helps you achieve goals. It seems like you've written that as if it's one idea, but those are really 3 ideas. So you'd have to choose one of those as a main idea, and just really tone it down in that your main idea should be just a small number of words, like we just had with Anita there. Her main idea was communication skills. That very simple, just 2 words. That's a main idea. So a main idea shouldn't require an explanation. It should just be something very specific and relevant, such as communication skills. However, sometimes much time spent on sport activities. Okay, so it wastes time. And then your last sentence, I strongly affiliate with sports because nowadays sport is the only option to stay healthy and focused in the modern era. Now, the question is about future careers. So does it help them for their future careers? If you say that it helps us to stay healthy and focused, are you talking about their future careers? I mean, it sounds like you're just talking about general well-being right now, and absolutely, sport is great to keep children healthy, to keep anybody healthy. But it's not about what are the benefits of sport. That's not what you were asked. You were asked, how will it help them in their future careers? So they're playing a team sport. Something happens when they're playing a team sport. They learn a skill, or they develop in some way from that activity, and what they learn helps them in their future careers. So that's what we're looking for, not just what is what's good about sport. So be careful to stay within the context of the question and keep your answer specific. Noni, according to those who think these sports are an advantage because begin in a team will teach children how to cooperate. Good cooperation skills. Whereas the other people disagree because academic skills are more important. So are you saying by academic skills are more important, does that mean, so it's not, are you imagining that children who play team sports don't go to school? I don't see the connection between team sports and academics, their education suffering. So is there some connection there? And it would need to be, you would need to make that connection more clearly. So it might be accurate and it might be relevant, and I can think of a way that would be, but you need to specifically say, this is affecting their academics, so they should be more focused on that instead of using their time on the team sports. But then again, it's specifically team sports and not just hobbies and sports in general. So just make sure that you've got all your ideas lined up and relevant. My opinion is that team sports are a benefit. So you need the article because it will help with their social skills. Perfect. Social skills. Thanks, Noni. Anita, you're very welcome. No problem, man. No problem whatsoever. No, I'm just giving you feedback on what I see. Okay, so what we have so far are 3 ideas, and they're all on the sides of why playing sport is good for your future career. We've got children learning communication skills, cooperation skills, social skills, and we can choose any 2 of those. That's fine. So what we could do, I can even fill these in right now. So let's just pull up the answer here, or the outline template that I created. So according to those who think these sports are an advantage, children learn important communication skills. And then we have down here for my opinion. My opinion is that team sports are a benefit. So I'll delete the part about disadvantage. And really, it doesn't matter what you believe, what you don't believe. It doesn't matter which way you go. If you had 2 ideas for why it's good and 1 idea for why it's bad, then just use that one for your opinion. Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter. All you care about is that you have 3 ideas you can use, 2 for one side, 1 for the other side. Okay, so let's have a look at this again. My opinion is that team sports are of benefit because of the social skills that the team members learn. Okay, so what we're missing here is, why do the other people disagree? So it doesn't have to be why sport isn't good. It could be, it's not. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't benefit. So that might be difficult to say. It doesn't benefit whatsoever. That's not quite specific. So just go the other side. Say, what can they learn? Again, they're learning something, or something's happening to their development, or it's affecting them in some way that their future careers are negatively impacted. So what's happening when they play sport that is negatively affecting their future careers? So that's the easiest way to look at it. Sandy has her ideas here. The rest of you, can you just think of any reasons why team sports would not be good? So some reason why they're not good for the future career. Sandy, according to those who think sports are an advantage, children who play team sports in school are more likely to be well socialized at work in the future. Perfect. So we're talking about social skills again. Very good. So continuing, whereas the other group disagree because their academic performance can be adversely affected by playing team sports. Perfect. adverse effect to academic performance. Great. And then the rest of Sandy's paraphrase or outline here. Whereas the other group disagree because their academic performance can be adversely. Oh, excuse me, that was the same sentence. That's fine. So Sandy, what you were missing was your third main idea. So you have one for the first side, one for the second side. Both of them are perfect, and then you just need that extra bit. You know what? The important skill set can be found from other activities. No, because if I can find it. Sorry, let me think of that. It's not an advantage to play team sports because they can get it elsewhere. So there's nothing they learn there that they can't find somewhere else. That does make sense. It's a bit complicated, but that makes complete sense. Skills learned aren't unique. Aren't unique to playing a team sport. No, that's good. That's 2 times I've done that to you. Said you were wrong and then realized I was wrong for saying you were wrong. Liji, good to hear from you. Education. Yep. So I think what you're saying is Sandy's idea there, and that works. And Vivi. Okay, so let me just pull your main ideas from here. Okay, better communication skills, yes. Better interpersonal skills, yes. They want the children to focus on education. Good. 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 Okay, so all your main ideas are perfect. They're all relevant. They're all specific. But what you're missing is you've written a full outline, and what you're missing is the components that IELTS asked you for. So it was, why do some people think this? Why do other people think that? So you give a reason why people think this. You give a reason why people think that. And then the second part is, and give your own opinion. So instead of having 2 main ideas for one group, you need take one of them and make that your own to support your own opinion. You have everything you need. You just need to put it in the right order. Okay, so lastly, Sandy, my opinion is that team sports are a benefit, as children playing team sports can learn how to follow social rules at their future work. Can learn to follow social rules that they will need in their future work. Good. Okay, so we have a full outline statement there. Let me just add the last main idea here. Whereas the other group disagrees because of the adverse effect to academic performance. And adverse effect on. Okay. Now, we're going to move on to the next sentence. Give me just one moment to organize myself here. We're going to move on to the next paragraph. While I'm doing that, let me just show you our full introduction. So this is what we have completed. We've finished the introduction. So we have our paraphrase, we have our outline statement with 3 main ideas. All the main ideas are relevant, all the main ideas are specific. And this is what we've just constructed so far in this lesson. So next we're moving on to the first body paragraph. What we need to consider is, how are we going to develop that? So we have the main idea, and the way the exam works is, so far what we've done will give us a band 6 for task achievement. We have main ideas, 3 of them. They're all relevant, they're all specific. Now we need to develop those. So in the main body paragraphs, we need to talk further, explain, exemplify those main ideas. We'll have one paragraph for the first, one paragraph for the second, and one paragraph for the third main idea. So my task for you now, and we're all just going to focus on this one same main idea so that you can see the mistakes that other students are making. You can learn from your mistakes. If you all try to develop different main ideas, I won't be able to give you the same quality of feedback. So we'll all stay focused on this one main idea and tell me, how can we develop this main idea? Some individuals believe that team sports teach children how to communicate well, and this helps with future careers. Faizan has just joined. So what we have on the screen is the topic sentence of the first body paragraph, and you need to tell me, how would you develop that idea that team sports teach communication skills, and this helps with those children's future careers. And there's no need to write the full paragraph. You can just give me what ideas you would use to support this. Okay, Little Wolf, I have your response. We'll just wait a few seconds and then I'll give you some feedback. Okay, so let's have a look at these. Firstly, Vivi, you posted about your main idea here for the previous part of the lesson. It's not clear the connection here. So it can provide personality. So it doesn't matter what you do, you will have a personality. You might have a good or a bad personality. So I'm pretty sure the vocabulary you're using isn't communicating the idea that you're thinking of. Okay, a little wolf. So you're developing. Let me just get everything lined up so we can see what we're looking at here. So some individuals believe that team sports teach children how to communicate well, and this helps with future careers. To elaborate it more, so we would say to elaborate more on this, while playing in live matches, communication is very vital. Very and vital don't go together, so just vital is enough. And oftentimes, players have to communicate with each other. Okay, so what you're talking about is how necessary communication is, but you need to connect how that results in better communication. So, from doing this, that improves their communication skills, and then further connect that up with their future careers. So you need to make those connections. So yes, you're saying that they have to communicate when they're playing, but does that improve their communication skills? Are you saying that the children who play team sports, are they communicating better than the children who don't play team sports? Is there a difference, or is it just they're all communicating? So I know what you mean, but you do need to say that. Ashan can solve different problems that occur in the workplace. Why? So again, you have to tell me why does that happen? Is it because they play the team sport? Is it the communication skills they learn from the team sport? So you've gone straight to the end, but you need to connect all the dots have to get connected together. You can't just say something, you can't just describe the outcome. You have to say, how did you get there? How did you go from playing a team sport to, the outcome that you've described? It encourages positive competition. That looks like a main idea, and that would be fine. To support explain idea is not easy. You are correct. Yes. That is why most students struggle with getting a band 7 in the IELTS test and higher. You're right. It's not easy, but that's what we're here for. And as I say every week, you've heard me say it many times, learning from your mistakes is how you improve. If you've made a mistake and I told you made a mistake, that information is what allows you to improve your IELTS scores. As long as you understand the mistake that you've made and make sure that you take action so as not to repeat the mistake, you're on the right track. That's all you need. E.g., group activity definitely improves communication skills. Right, but we're talking specifically about team sports. So is it any type of group activity? What about if the kids are just they're playing a board game together? So we have to differentiate. It's not just that they're doing an activity, it's specifically team sports. So you have to remember that the IELTS, this question has given you something specific that you need to talk about. And if you talk in general, you're not going to get a good score. So it has to be specifically team sports definitely improve communication skills. But again, we've already said that. We've just said that it teaches children how to communicate well. So and you're not the first student to do this, candidates do this all the time. When they try to explain the main idea, they just repeat it in different words, and that's not an explanation. So you have to tell me how or why does this happen? How or why does it happen? Noni, being a member of a team provides the best environment to learn how to communicate with other teammates, such as sharing ideas or learning when to pass the ball to other players. Great. Very good. So what we have there is a clear explanation of why do these children who play team sports, why are they learning communication skills? So it's not just if you have two children in a room, one who plays a team sport and one who doesn't play a team sport, how is the one who plays a team sport better at communicating? What experience did they have that created this? And that's what you need to do. Noni's done a very good job of that there. Ashan, my opinion is I like to do individual sport rather than team sport. Nothing to do with the question. That's nothing to do. So this is your opinion. So I mean, if we were having a conversation, if you and I were in a cafe and I said, well, what do you think of team sports? Like, I don't like them. I prefer individual sports. That's fine. But it's specifically, and let's just look at the question again. Do team sports prepare children for their future careers? That's what you need to say. So by coming in with something that's, completely outside of what the question asked you to discuss, that's really not going to help with your score. Unless working alone, like a freelancer, almost every career involves interacting with other people, and therefore the way people communicate with others needs to be well developed to perform their work successfully from a young age. So where you've put from a young age, looks like you're talking about the work, but you need to put that needs to be well developed from a young age to perform their work successful in the future. So this is all good. That works. Yep, that's perfect. So what Sandy's done here is she's made the full connection between playing the team sport and why it's good for your future career. So she didn't necessarily need to say how they're learning that communication skill. She's explaining how that is helping the future career. So that works. Good. Anita, children who get involved in team sports at a tender age will be able to communicate well in their workplace with colleagues. This will bring about a very productive outcome. Okay, so you don't just say that it happens. The explanation has to be how or why. So it's like an example from one of my lessons is, if a student comes late to class, I say, why are you late? And they said, oh, I'm late because I came 10 minutes after the lesson starts. Like, what? That's not why you're late. That's a description of what being late means. And I know that's a very simplified version, but that's essentially what you're doing is you're just saying what happens rather than how it happens or why it happens. For example, the traffic was very busy and I got stuck in traffic and that's why I'm late. So those are two very different things, an explanation and a description of an outcome. So be very careful with that. That's a mistake that a lot of candidates make as well. And it does bring down your task achievement score. Lillian, in order to succeed in the game, all team members have to work together. Good. And that leads to, so you need to develop that further, but yes, that's a good start. That leads to a better ability to communicate than the students who don't. And in the workplace, good communication is essential. So there you've joined all the dots together. So you need to get from A to B. So you need to go all the way, follow it across. You know what? Children practice interpersonal communication skills from playing team sports. When they grow up, interpersonal communication skills, just communication skills. When they grow up, they can bring these skills to convey with their co-workers and finally succeed in their tasks. We say succeed in their careers would be better. This is good, but some vocabulary mistakes. So you're on the other spectrum where most students here are struggling with the ideas. You're doing very well with ideas. You're thinking of specific relevant ideas. You're developing them properly. So for you, your main focus has to be vocabulary. And like I was saying earlier, it could be you might just need to stop using the vocabulary you're unable to use, the ones that you're making mistakes with. So just, kind of reduce don't attempt to push up your vocab score. Attempt to communicate completely clearly. So it could be that, or it could be you do need to improve your overall vocabulary, or it could be a mixture of both. Mona, they tend to stand by each other during hard and happy times. They think that can help them to accept ups and downs in their future career. So this looks like a different main idea. So this would not be relevant in this paragraph we're looking about communication skills, but that would be good for a different main idea. Team sports include many skills that need to be used in the future. As the workplace tends to work with the team, one who plays in the team sport will know how to deal with colleagues. Very vague, very vague. You haven't really said anything about communication skills here. So it has to be, and this is what happens when you say in your paragraph, I will be talking about communication skills. So the first sentence of your paragraph was the same main idea we had in the same main idea that we had in the introduction. And basically what we've said is we're going to talk about communication skills. And at that point, you cannot bring in any other ideas. You cannot go anywhere else. You've said what you're going to talk about, and you absolutely have to talk about just that. Ashan, others think team sports wouldn't help with future careers because children wouldn't have their own confidence to solve their own future problems. As a main idea, fine, but for this paragraph would not be suitable. Different people. So yes, but it's specifically team sports. So I'm learning something from a team sport. I'm learning communication from a team sport. So it's not just that I'm interacting with people. So like, let's say, if I have two children, one child plays a team sport, one child plays board games with his friends or her friends all the time. What you're saying is they will both learn communication skills because they're interacting with other people. But that's not what the question is about. It's not just when they're interacting, it's when they're specifically playing team sports. So you need to really stay focused on the context of the question. Be careful with that. Team sport helps individuals to learn to cooperate with each other and make discussions to find reasonable solutions for their personal issues. I can see where you're going with this, but you need to connect it more directly to communication skills. So they learn to communicate with each other and discuss their personal issues to find reasonable solutions. That would be fine, but you need to make sure it's actually about communication. And the second half is, to be honest, the discussion part is, the cooperation part is not. Mr. Byte, child involving in team sports helps them to develop their communication, leadership skills, and ability to interact with their friends. As main ideas, those are all relevant, but they're to one side. It wouldn't be suitable for the paragraph we're looking at. Future careers and these skills. Yep. But remember, the way you need to organize it as well as two main ideas for one side, one main idea for the other side. So it's not just three things that are good. It has to be two things that are good and one thing that is bad. So you need to have the right balance. Okay, Dina, in a changing world, children need to develop life skills such as emotional skills, cognitive skills, etc. Don't use etc. in the IELTS tests. You need to use full structures, and hence they need to live a real life experience where they interact with others, live different scenarios and react in different ways. I think the problem here is that you don't understand the format of the IELTS test. That's fine. I already shared lessons at the start of this, a link to video lessons on task 2. All those lessons combined will only take you 3 hours to complete. So it's not that for you, it's not your language, it's not your ability to generate ideas, it's you quite clearly don't know how to put the pieces together in the way that the IELTS test requires you to. So you're in a very good position, to be honest. You're in a very good position because you seem to have all the skills that you need. You just don't know how to put the pieces together. In a lot of ways, writing a task 2 question is a lot like a jigsaw. You have all the pieces, they need to go in the right place, in the right order, they need to be organized properly, they need to fit together in the way that IELTS wants an IELTS essay to look. So you're in a good position, but definitely complete those lessons, as I said, because by understanding what you need to do, you will be much better at doing that. Faizan. So again, this wouldn't be related to communication skills, or at least not directly. Okay, so I think the best so far was what we had from Sandy. Just saying why these skills are so important for the future career. I think better again would be a mixture of nonies to explain how they learn the skill. And then, so let me go through this. Being a member of a team provides the best environment to learn how to communicate with other teammates, such as sharing ideas or learn when to pass the ball with others. So that's how they learn the skill. That's how they learn to communicate. And then we have why that is necessary for the working place. Now, those combined do a very good job of developing the main idea, but they would need to be shorter because we have 3 main ideas to develop. So you don't want a big long paragraph. You just want about 3 lines, 4 lines at the most to develop that. So that's good. And then you're doing the exact same thing. So the other ideas we had were communication skills, cooperation skills, social skills. Let me just pull up the our outline again. Okay, so what we looked at was the paragraph reacting to the children learn important communication skills. So sorry, let me share my screen here. What we just looked at was the paragraph responding to that. What we would need to do next is talk about the adverse effect on academic performance. And in the exact same way that we just looked, you would explain that and potentially, you would give an example as well. Then we would go on and write another body paragraph to say how the social skills are a benefit. And then we would write our conclusion. So it's basically a repetition of what we've just done. Restate that main idea in a topic sentence and then develop that main idea. So we've gone through most of what we would need to do to write your full essay. I do have a sample essay for you here. Let me share it with you. And I also have a link to join my live feedback lessons. So every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I have other lessons with my newsletter subscribers. So make sure to sign up for that. I've just posted the link in the comments section. Also, if you would like to thank me for this lesson, make sure to click like and share Complete Test Success with your friends, your family members, any IELTS groups you're in. Spread the word. So as a way of saying thank you, please spread the word. That's it for today. That's the end of the lesson, strictly speaking. But if anybody has any questions for me about IELTS in general, reading, writing, listening, speaking, I'm happy to answer. I can stay online for another few minutes. So that's the end of looking at that task 2 answer. Have a look at the sample answer I just shared with you. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any. And if nobody has questions, we'll just finish up for today. Completely up to you now at the moment. Hi, Huda. You're very welcome. Get involved. Get involved. Join in next week. Join in. Make some mistakes. Learn what mistakes you're making. I know it's a bit daunting to put your work up in front of everybody and have me tell you everything you're doing wrong. I know it's not a fantastic experience, but it does mean you'll improve your IELTS scores. So great that you joined. Next week, participate a bit more. Mr. Boyd, you're very welcome. Good to have you here. Gonna spread the word? Great. Thank you so much, Anita. You know what? That's it. That's it exactly. You know your weakness, you know what to do. That's it exactly. That's what these lessons are for, just to help you understand. How could I elaborate? So your vocabulary, it's a long process. Sandy and Noni, the two students here that attend my live feedback lessons, they are working on vocabulary every single day, and they're already a very good level of English. Both of them already have a very good level of English, but they understand the importance of having that level of vocabulary to get a high IELTS score. And it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort. There is a lesson in that link that I shared at the start with the complete guide to task 2. There are lessons in that about how to improve your vocabulary. Specifically, I believe it's the 4th or the 5th lesson is a vocabulary improvement strategy, and you'll follow that. It takes time, it takes effort. Just consider how many years you've been studying vocabulary and your current level. It doesn't happen instantly. It does take time and effort. Mona, how do we elaborate main idea easily? It's about the perspective that you take, and it's about getting experience with doing it. Some people find it easy, some people don't. From what I can tell, a lot of it has to do with your educational background. Were you asked to assess things, give opinions on things? Did you have to do creative writing and those types of things? So it just comes from experience. But really, I go through it. There are steps in the lessons I shared with you, but you just have to try. And one thing as well is, don't just write full essays all the time. If you're trying to improve your ability to generate ideas, that happens when you're planning your essay. That doesn't happen when you're writing your essay. So if the only issue you have is you can't generate ideas, just focus on generating ideas. Take 10 questions, generate idea, generate idea, generate idea, and go through them that way. Because when you write the full essay, that'll take you 40 minutes. Whereas you could have spent all that 40 minutes generating more ideas, and exercising that part of your brain. Lillian, you're very welcome. Make sure to get involved next week as well. I see some names here saying thank you, and you're all very, very welcome. It's great to have you here, but do get involved. Get involved, make your own mistakes, because what happens, just instinctively, you see somebody making a mistake, you're like, oh yeah, that's wrong, but you're not sure, would you have made that mistake? So it's very easy to see it, especially when you hear my feedback and you're going, oh yeah, I can see why that's wrong, but is that a mistake you would have made? So definitely come along next week. Make sure to get involved and learn from your mistakes as well, Lillian. A Little Wolf. That's a great name. I like that. We appreciate you giving time to us. We appreciate you giving your time to us. So small grammar mistakes, but very clear. And you're very welcome. Abdel Mumin. I always have to take my time with your name. I would like that you make a live on speaking test by talk to us directly, like simulator for the speaking test. That's something that I could potentially do in the future. In fact, today was my very first time sitting down looking at the speaking test for lessons for complete test success. I've been focusing completely on writing up until now. And that's why all my feedback, all my lessons, everything has been writing. But I'm at the point now where I feel like I've done a complete job in most areas of writing. Not that I'm going to stop giving writing feedback, but yes, I think at some point in potentially in the future, not necessarily in the near future. I can't say for sure. I'm not sure how soon, but no, that's a good idea, and thanks for the suggestion. We want more live lessons, more video lessons like this. You're awesome. Thank you. Good. I have more live lessons. I've live feedback lessons that we conduct on Zoom every week. I've shared the link for that. Mr. Byte, get involved. Come along. It would be great to have you there. And obviously, it's a bit more intimate on Zoom because it goes both ways, and we can discuss things out a bit more clearly. Vivi, you're very welcome. Noni. I have a question not related to writing, no problem. In reading, if I have a problem with matching heading questions, how can I improve on this type of question? So it depends if your problem is with how much time it takes you or if it's with the accuracy. Now, like I was saying to you before, is just start off really slowly, go as slow as you need. But the thing is, where a lot of students go wrong, there are two areas where students go wrong with these question types. The first one is they're under pressure and they've learned that skimming is the answer to all your problems when it comes to the reading test. So they skim so fast that they didn't actually, internalize or, process what the word said. They got the paragraph finished as fast as they could. And then at the end, if they closed their book and had to say what the paragraph is about, they couldn't because they went too fast. So the key there is you skim means to read as fast as you can, not faster than you can. And a lot of students go wrong there. It's the time constraints and the pressure. Also, don't skim the full paragraph. Just read the first and the last sentence. That'll give you a good idea. If it doesn't, read more. But in general, you will have a relatively clear idea of what the paragraph is about. The other problem that students have with matching headings is that they get confused between the meaning. So there are 8 options, and for paragraph B, they think it's either option 2 or option 3. But they don't understand the difference in the meaning between option 2 and 3. When they read them, they think it's the exact same meaning. And that in itself is a language issue, because if you can't understand what it means, if you can't see how they're different, how the meaning is different, then you're just going to have to guess. So, the short-term solution is guess. It's not a great solution. Long-term solution is improve your language skills to the point where you do understand the difference. So I've probably covered the issue you're having in there somewhere. Those are the most common issues I've encountered with candidates doing matching headings questions. Thanks, Mr. Byte. I appreciate all your lovely comments. Thank you too, Sandy. See you tomorrow. Abdel Mumin, I would like that you make a live. Yes, okay, so that's just the same comment again. Yep, I think that's a good idea. Just I can't say how soon that will happen. I'm quite busy. I like the idea, and I do think that will happen at some point, but it won't be in the next week or two. Okay, it seems like that's all the questions. So again, great to have you all here. Thanks for all your input. Hopefully you've learned something. Make sure to share your those links and complete test success with anyone else doing the IELTS test. Okay. Thanks, Noni. Oh, one last question here from Vivi, and then we'll stop. In reading, is it enough if I practice Cambridge books for the test? Yeah, Cambridge are the only reliable ones. So absolutely you should practice with them. But don't just do test after test after test. It's like in this lesson, you need to learn your mistakes, find out what you're doing wrong, and improve based on discovering what you did wrong. So if you do one test, do it slowly. If it takes you 3 hours to do the test, that's fine. Don't try to do it in 1 hour. Go back, look at all the ones you got wrong, all the answers you got wrong. Determine why you got them wrong. What mistake did you make? Was it vocab? Was it you were looking at the wrong area? Were you rushing? What caused the mistake? Learn from that learn from those mistakes, and you should have some knowledge with you going into the next practice test. So you're like, okay, I made that mistake because I did this, so I'm not going to repeat that mistake. So in a lot of cases, it would be that, or it could potentially, and in a lot of candidate situations, it's that they didn't have the vocabulary knowledge, they didn't have the English ability. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter how many practice reading tests you do, you need to stop, you need to go away, focus on English, and come back when you've genuinely improved your ability. And that's where the improvement will come from. I think that the IELTS reading tests from IELTS Master are more difficult than the Cambridge books. I don't know what IELTS Master is, but I can confidently tell you, Cambridge IELTS books are the only reliable reading and listening tests. Very, very confident. From start to end, it takes IELTS something like 18 months to make a reading test, because they make it, they get a lot of people to do it, they have to recalibrate it, make bits easier, make bits more difficult. Because I could make an IELTS test. I could make an IELTS test easily. I know what all the questions look like. I could make a practice IELTS test, no problem. What is a problem is getting it so that a band 6.5 student will get band 6.5, a band 7 student will get band 7. So I could give you I could make a practice test with everything would be perfect except the number of answers you get correct, except for how long it would take you, except for the band score that you would get. So I could simulate an IELTS test, but I could not. It would take. I wouldn't have the resources. It takes IELTS 18 months. They have to just go through a process of getting candidates to practice with it based on those candidates' level. They change it. It's a big long process. So I don't know who IELTS Master is. I'm not going to slander anybody else's attempts to produce IELTS resources. They might have the format perfect, but Cambridge IELTS books are the only ones that are completely accurate. And you're welcome. That was a long answer. Okay, Jonathan, good to see you here. That's it for this week. Come along to the free live feedback lessons. Be good to have more of you involved there. And I'll be back another live stream this time next week. Okay, take care of yourselves, everyone, and have a good week. Bye-bye.